Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin' Robbie Billups, and it's time for the weekly comic book review. That's right, everybody. Thanks for checking out the video. I'm Rockin' Robbie Billups. This is the weekly comic book review. It's the show where I read a lot of comic books and I let you know what I thought about them, and we always start with the pick of the week, and this week's pick of the week, Toxic Summer, issue number 1, from Oni Press. Now, this is written and illustrated by Derek Charm, and this book was charming. 100%. I absolutely loved it. So take teenage beach party movies, mix them with cheesy B-movie horror stuff, right? Which that's already a popular blend of having the horror beach party, right? But just thread all that in together and add in a little bit of toxicity into the mixture, right? That's what this book is. It's about these two dudes who have this idea that they're going to go become lifeguards at this beach, which is known for being a giant party beach. They're there to scope out hot hunks and all this kind of stuff, right? But when they get there, the beach is closed because there's been some kind of toxic chemical spill, right? And so now all their plans seem to be gone, but they're trying to make the best of the situation. But of course, where toxicity on this beach lies, monsters will arise. Absolutely loved this book. It has a wonderful flow through it, a great pace, and the artwork is amazing. Deceptively simple line work, but beautiful, brilliant, bold coloring. All of the characters, the way they're emoting, the comedic bits, the horrific bits, it all absolutely works, and the color palette is absolutely astounding. Beautiful toxic greens and oranges and yellows, and it just absolutely works. It's a light book. It has a lot of fun. This is double sized. It's $6.99, but it's like 2 comics in one, so it's well worth the price. If you like beach party, horror movie, funny, silly, great art, awesome kind of comics, this one's for you. Toxic Summer, issue number 1. That's the pick of the week. Let's jump over to Marvel, where we got the release of their latest summer wannabe blockbuster with Blood Hunt. Now, this is written by Jed MacKay, so it's written decently, and it's got artwork by Pepe Larraz, so the artwork is absolutely thrilling. It is stunning, really good stuff. Big splash pages. Basically what happens is vampires have formed some kind of a plan to attack the Marvel Universe, and this is the biggest, boldest plan that they've had so far. The story is pretty decent. There is something. One of my favorite characters is in here. Let's just call him Blade. And there is some interesting things being done with Blade that I don't know quite sure how I feel about, but I'm willing to give Jed MacKay the benefit of the doubt and see how this develops, right? But as a first issue, it's the opening shot. It's all right. It's decent. It's got great artwork and it's an okay story. But what I will encourage you to do, if you're going to pick this book up, get the red band bagged edition. So I wanted to check out both, so I did look. The red band edition does have extra pages. There's like, I think, 2 extra pages in here, and there are certain bits that are redone in a very gory way. I will show you an example. So look at that page. Look at that dude right there. It's a dead dude just laying there, blood all around. That's already graphic enough, right? Well, let's see what that image looks like in the red band edition. And as we do that, you see that this dude's guts are all spilled out, so it's more than just blood at the neck. Here, this vampire's got a hand in his mouth, not in the other one. Decapitations, so that's the difference. There are some extra pages. In fact, there is a couple big moments in this book that are way gnarlier in the red band edition than in the regular, so I would highly encourage you, if you can, pay the extra $1 if you're going to get Blood Hunt, because this is definitely worth it. Like, I was really shocked when I started looking at it. I was like, oh, wow. Like, I thought it'd be like a little bit bloodier or something like that. I didn't know that they were going to go as far as they did in here. The last page, from this to this, the last page, which is a completely different page, frickin' rocks. For real. So I'm not saying the book is super excellent or anything. I'm kind of all for a vampire attack event at Marvel that's going to be this gory and bloody and gnarly and nasty. Like, okay, I am still very curious as to what's happening to my favorite Daywalker, but we will find out. We got Deadpool Wolverine World War III issue number 1. I got that Rob Liefeld cover right there. This was an alright book. It has really great artwork from Adam Kubert. This is like the Adam Kubert of old. Really great texture, really great storytelling. The story is all right. It's like Deadpool and Wolverine wind up in the midst of the same mission, and Wolverine's annoyed by Deadpool. Deadpool talks too much. Then there's a little bit of a mystery. It's all right. This is, of course, all set up because Free Comic Book Day is this Saturday. A lot of people are going to be in the comic shops that aren't going to be typically in the comic shop. It's kind of like if the comic shop is church, Free Comic Book Day is Easter Sunday. You know what I'm saying? So, of course, you got to have this on the shelf because you got the upcoming Deadpool Wolverine movie, which I do believe was supposed to be a May release. So that's probably why it got scheduled for that. But it's also going to be a few issues in when that movie does release. But it was all right. If you're a Deadpool fan, if you're a Wolverine fan, if you're an Adam Kubert fan, definitely check it out. Joe Kelly on the writing too, so that's one of the better Deadpool writers of all time right there. Then we got Get Fury issue number 1. This is a new one from Garth Ennis with artwork by Jason Burrows. This one was pretty solid. It's set in Vietnam. It's a Marvel Max book, which means it's for adults. It's got cursing, it's got violence, this is inappropriate for young audiences, right? When I met Garth Ennis in September at the Memphis Comic Expo last year, I told him that Punisher Born, which is a book he did for Marvel Max back in the early 2000s, set in Vietnam, where it's like showing that Frank was already the Punisher before he even leaves Vietnam, before his family is slaughtered. He's already kind of going down this path, and Garth told me, well, you're in luck because I'm doing a sequel of sorts for that book that you'll see probably in the spring. Here it is. So Nick Fury's been captured by the enemies in Vietnam, and the military is now sending Frank Castle in, and if they can't find Colonel Fury and get him out of there first, Castle's going to find him and kill him so that he's not able to deliver state secrets and secrets about the war mission and stuff like that, right? So that's the whole idea of Get Fury. If you like Garth Ennis and his Punisher run, his work on Fury, no reason why you're not going to like that one. Then we got Vengeance of the Moon Knight, issue number 5, a Blood Hunt tie-in that I would encourage you, if you are reading Moon Knight as well as Blood Hunt, both written by Jed MacKay, I would encourage you to read this one before you read Blood Hunt, because this takes place right before, like moments before. The last page in here continues into the first issue of Blood Hunt. This was an alright issue. We now have the identity of the new Moon Knight revealed. Tigra and Hunter's Moon are dealing with the ramifications of that, and then something happens that's a part of kicking off the Blood Hunt story. Also, you got some nice 8-ball stuff, but I really did enjoy this issue of Moon Knight. In fact, since it's relaunched as Vengeance of the Moon Knight, I think this is the strongest issue. So there you go. Then we've got Weapon X-Men issue number 3. This is a book that I thought I would already be done reading, but I actually have a lot of fun with this book, right? It's a team of multiversal Wolverines. You got a Wolverine from Earth X. You got a woman Wolverine from a different reality. You got Old Man Logan. You got a zombie Wolverine from the Marvel Zombies world. You got Wolverine from the Age of Apocalypse, and they're all working for the Phoenix, trying to hunt down a Onslaught that's a fusion of Magneto and Phoenix, Jean Grey, from a certain world. They're running around trying to figure out how to kill him, where he's at, and this was an okay issue. You get the story of the Jamie Howlett character, which is the, is that the right name? I think so. But you get her origin. She's like the female Wolverine from the 1800s. I like it. It's got some vampire stuff. It's got the classic Dracula in it, so some Bloodstone. So I'm not saying the book's super good, but I'm enjoying it, and I'm still enjoying it. Hulk, Incredible Hulk, issue number 12. This is a book that if Nick Klein was not on this issue, I was just going to be out. Because this book has been so inconsistent. It's been up and down. When Nick Klein's here, the story works. It all feels like it's coming together. When he's not there, it's just odd choices for fill-in artists. It just makes the book feel disjointed and disconnected. This was a solid issue. Because Nick Klein's here, right? So after the events of the last issue, the little girl running around with Hulk is trapped in a little doll. He goes to Strange Academy to get Brother Voodoo's help. And there's some really awesome, like Nick Klein Hulkisms in here. Like, in that first issue of this run, the way Nick Klein showed the transformation of Bruce into the Hulk was great. Now we get to see the transformation reverse and go into Banner, and it's absolutely horrific and cool and gnarly. And when Nick Klein's on this book, it solidifies it. But when he's not, it really starts faltering, so we'll see how much longer they can maintain my attention. Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace Anniversary Special. That's right, everybody. Make sure you take your meds today. The Phantom Menace is 25 years old. 25 years old. Matrix is 25 years old. Fight Club is 25 years old. American Beauty is 25 years old. Episode 1 is 25 years old. Sixth Sense is 5 years old. Like, it's 25 years old. It's making me feel old. Because I was there. I worked at the movie theater when these movies came out. It makes me feel... You know, we are further away now from the release of Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, than we were from the original Star Wars at the time of the release of The Phantom Menace. The book's okay. If you're a huge Phantom Menace fan, sure, check it out. It's going to replay some of the greatest hits and show you a little bit of stuff in between. But if young Anakin and making sad eyes at his mom really annoys you, don't read this book. It's a one-shot. It's just here to celebrate 25 years of Phantom Menace and make us all feel incredibly frickin' old. Alright, from DC, we've got Superman House of Brainiac special. This is House of Brainiac 2.5, not 100% essential for your understanding of the crossover between Superman and Action Comics, but it is mostly written by Josh Williamson. There's one story written by Josh Williamson that kind of catches you up on who Brainiac is and sets all that kind of stuff in context. Then it has an end story that reveals who the Council of Light is, the mysterious beings that Amanda Waller's been kind of getting help and taking orders from a little bit. That they are revealed here. It's actually a big revelation if you've been following the course of the DCU and through all the events and into here. And then the middle story seems to not really be connected to House of Brainiac, but it is a Mark Russell, Steve Pugh story focusing in on Perry White's candidacy for mayor that I really loved. And that probably is actually the biggest chunk in this book now that I think about it. And it was well worth it. I liked it. If you like Superman, if you like Mark Russell, if you like Steve Pugh, no reason why you're not going to like this. And the Brainiac stuff is really cool too. It kind of explains the origins of his involvement in Zarnia, the Lobo stuff and all that. But then the thing I really liked about it in particular too was the big reveal at the end of the Council of Light, Amanda Waller moving her plans forward a little bit and showing us exactly how tied into the upcoming absolute power that House of Brainiac actually is, which is pretty spot on. B. Bennett gets her origin rewritten here in the pages of Nightwing 2024 Annual. Travis Moore is the writer and the illustrator. The art is really solid. It is a bit of a wordy story, but it doesn't feel like it gets stalled out because of the excessive dialogue. It actually has a decent flow to it. I enjoyed this book. Like I said, it is overly verbose, but it doesn't affect the pacing of the book too much. I found this to be a really rather enjoyable read that takes different threads from the Rick Grayson era, the Spiral era, what Tom Taylor's done with this character, and kind of put it all together in one very easy to digest and understand origin story and set up for some stuff to come. Then we've got the Flash 2024 Annual, which is confusing as hell. 100%. The Flash is dealing with some kind of like metaphysical, extra-dimensional, crazy things. It's like Grant Morrison, Alan Moore, crazy kind of ideas about extra dimensions and beings and stuff like that, and it's tied into the Flash and the Speed Force. And the book's been challenging, but I have found the book to be rewarding. But as we progress into the story, Cy Spurrier's making this thing even more challenging to the point where I read this and I'm like, I can kind of grasp what's happening. I get it, but I don't know what in hell is going on. So Flash 2024 Annual, how you've been feeling about the Flash, whichever side of the fence you're on, you're going to probably feel the same way there. Let's jump over to Image and see what they've got. And from Image, we have Bear Pirate Viking Queen, issue number 1. So this is written by Sean Lewis with artwork by Jonathan Marks Baravicia. The art is 100% the star of this book. It is Bill Sienkiewicz-like, but it has its own kind of flair and vibe to it. It's very textured. It's densely gritty. It is absolutely astounding to look at. It is absolutely beautiful, different, but bold, daring, really cool stuff. The story's decent. The story's solid. I haven't quite put it all together. It seems like there's this dude who's a survivor of a ship who was attacked by pirates. He sees the spirit of a bear. He becomes the bear pirate. He winds up ransacking the ship. There's a Viking there. Actually, it's pretty simple and straightforward now that I say it out loud like that. This book is badass. The story is solid and really cool, but the art, like, holy frickin' cow. And it took some turns at the end that I was not expecting, but I love this. If you love experimental, gritty, textured artwork that is bold, daring, and Bill Sienkiewicz-like, you're 100% going to like this book. It is also rather long for only $4.99. A lot of bang for your buck with Bear Pirate Viking Queen. Then we've got Kaya here with issue number 18. Another fantastic issue of Kaya. Wes Craig illustrating, writing, creating this entire world, developing these characters, taking this book, and just, it keeps getting better and better every single issue. In fact, this is one of the most dramatic and impactful parts of the story yet. I was shocked by this book. Like, honestly, I'm reading along and I'm like, no way. Are you freaking kidding me? I'm so into this world. I'm so into these characters. And Wes Craig's artwork is just so freaking gorgeous. I said this on the last monthly comic book review, and I think I mean this 100%. I know we're only 18 issues in, but I think that's enough, 3 books, basically, for me to say this is, like, as good as Bone. As far as, like, young adult, all ages kind of books, this book is awesome. It doesn't hold punches. It doesn't talk down to the audience. This is something that flows and works and is beautiful and gorgeous to look at. Is pretty top-notch. Then we've got King Spawn here with issue number 33. Todd McFarlane doing his best Christopher Nolan here, a.k.a. or by way of Memento, I should say. This is a story that takes place at the end of the story, and every few pages it cuts back, and it tells the story in reverse orders, kind of like that one of my favorite episodes of Seinfeld, when they go to India, right, for Elaine's friend's wedding or something like that. That's one of my favorite episodes of Seinfeld. It kind of does that approach. It's like Memento. Does it need to be structured that way? No, there was nothing about that structure that made this kind of stand out. Otherwise, it's just Spawn finding out some information and going and wrecking shit. So I guess it did kind of break up the monotony of that by having it be told backwards. It was alright. It was alright. That's a really gnarly cover right there. By Renaud. I really do like that cover. It's pretty cool. But it's not the cover of the week. The cover of the week I'm going to give to Space Ghost issue number 1. In particular, the Jay Lee variant. This is cover B. There are a lot of great covers for Space Ghost. I was 100% sold on the Michael Cho cover. Very classic. I think it's actually an homage to a classic Gold Key issue. The main cover by Matina is absolutely great. There's a Bjorn Barons, or however you say their name. There's one of those covers that looks nice, but this Jay Lee one, striking design, excellent composition, great spotting of blacks, and the use of the white here. Absolutely amazing cover from Jay Lee. But what about the interior of the book? That's right, it's a whole new age and era for Space Ghost with writer David Pepose. David is a solid writer. We've had him on the show several times. Check out some of those conversations. Get into this dude's head because he loves comics. He loves superheroes. He loves these characters. Really happy and satisfied, very satisfied with the story here. It is a more gritty, more mature approach to Space Ghost. Now, he's not cutting off people's heads and stuff like that, but all the classic silliness of the cartoons kind of taken out. It still has the two kids, it still has the monkey, but it actually makes it work with a little bit more of a serious lean to it. Jonathan Lau's artwork is very kinetic and action-packed. In fact, the whole book is nothing but action-packed. I love the designs, I love the way it looks. The coloring could be a little bit less of kind of the same. I do like the art, I do like the story, but sometimes the color just is too much the same thing, and maybe it's because alarms are supposed to be going off or something. There are other pages where it works a little bit better, but I was really surprised by this. I mean, I like Space Ghost, but I've never been super like anything Space Ghost I'll get. But this was awesome. It's the cover of the week. David, Jonathan, and company did a hell of a job there. From Darkhorse Comics, we have Lester of the Lesser Gods, issue number 1 of 3. It's an Eric Powell book with artwork by Gideon Kendall. Now, it's also co-written by Lucky Yates, so I liked the book. It was silly. It's basically a farcical take on a barbarian tale. This dude, Lester, is a demigod. Odin is his father, but he's just this kind of like overweight schlub who's it's kind of like Gru, but a little bit more profane, or like not profane, maybe a little bit more crude, you know, a little bit more. It's like, I don't know, it's all right. It's not as good as the Goon, and it's just kind of okay. Now, this is spinning out of a one-shot that came out like a year or two ago, so if you missed out on that one-shot, they will catch you up on things, but it'd probably be beneficial to check out that one-shot before you dive into the series. But if you like dumb, crude fun with a barbarian kind of tinge to it, you definitely check it out. It's all right. We got a new one from Distillery, The Blood Brothers' Mother. This is from Brian Azzarello and Eduardo Risso, who were the team behind one of my favorite Vertigo books from the late 90s, early 2000s, 100 Bullets. And Eduardo Risso's artwork is gorgeous. The coloring is absolutely amazing. It feels like an old school sepia-toned, dirty, dusty kind of Western, and that's exactly what it is. Some beautiful uses of other colors in there, like purples, just make it really soar for me. I enjoyed this book. Brian Azzarello's script was very easy to get through. It's about these kids who have a mother, and then somebody comes to take this mother, and now it's going to be about their story, about revenge. So it doesn't really get into that yet. It's kind of building up all the stuff that sets that up, but I enjoyed it. If you like Westerns, if you like the artwork of Eduardo Risso, and if you like the writing of Brian Azzarello, you should totally check out that book. It was worth it. Then we've got The Savage Sword of Conan, issue number 2. What a great issue of Conan. So the main story is written by Jim Zub with artwork by Richard Pace, and it is awesome. And they have fixed the printing stuff. Like, everybody was kind of talking about issue number 1 being really cool, but it was a little murky and overly dark when it was printed. The printing here works so much better. It's a classic, nice, bold, and savage Conan tale that I really, really loved. Richard Pace's artwork, it's got so much texture to it, so much line work, so many techniques being used. It's got giant monsters. It's so much fun, and it's like a 50-page story, and then it's got Patch Zurcher's Solomon Kane story in the back, and that was really solid too. That was pretty much all it had, but I still enjoyed it. A lot of bang for your buck there. A great cover, and guess what, y'all? You got it. It's the smell of the week. It goes to Savage Sword of Conan, issue number 2, which was awesome. From Oni Press and the Nacelleverse, we have Robo Force, issue number 1. Now, I've never been really into Robo Force or really introduced to them. Now, they're doing this Nacelleverse that's going to be a shared universe with, like, the Centaurs, or the Sectars, my bad, the Sectars and Power Lords and Biker Mice from Mars and Robo Force. I read this. I gave it a shot. I didn't like it. It was kind of boring. It was dull. Maybe if I had more of a connection to this old school toy line. Was it a cartoon? I know there's a toy line. The only reason why I know that is because they've done new versions of these toys, and nobody's buying them at my shop. Anybody need any? Just let us know. But Robo Force number 1 is Then we got Barbaric, Born in Blood, issue number 1. This was a book that I used to really, really like and enjoy, and now, like, I read it and I'm like, I feel like this joke's been played, right? There are moments in here that are playful and kind of downright funny, but then moments where it just kind of does the same joke. It's over and over. It's kind of getting repetitive. The artwork's starting to feel a little bit loose, sometimes sloppy, and it's just not quite clicking and firing on all of those cylinders like the early issues of this run. So I'll probably stick with it for a little bit longer, but it's starting to get a bit repetitive. And I know for some people that's already happened. Now we are going to be learning a little bit more about the history of Owen here, Owen the Barbarian, but we get very little here in this first issue, but we'll see how it develops. Then we've got The Scale Trade, issue number 1, a new one from Magma. This is about a world in which dragons exist. People hunt these dragons for meat, for oil, for all kinds of reasons. It's outlawed, so there's this whole branch of like government officials who like go out and stop the people who are poaching the dragons or something like that, but it comes across just boring and dull. I don't like the artwork. I did not like the story. Some of the dialogue was downright atrocious. I just did not like this book. It did not work for me. So far, these new Magma books, not quite working for me. Then we got Godzilla War for Humanity, issue number 5, the final issue of the Andrew McLean and Jake Smith book, and Jake Smith's artwork has been the selling point for me on this book. The story is decent, and it's alright, and it's a satisfying enough conclusion. But the main reason why I stuck with this book for so long was this dude's artwork. Jake Smith's artwork. I mean, I've already shown you that page. I will check out almost anything that this dude is doing because I think it is stellar work. Great colors, great line work, really cool, big, bombastic moments. Great use of the page. Get this dude on some Kirby Monsters, please, right now. Then we got The Fog, issue number 3. Great cover there from Sumerian Press. This has been a real treat, actually. You know, the art's all right. It is starting to get more dark and atmospheric and foreboding and menacing with the art, and I like that. But the art's fine. It gets the job done, but the story's pretty solid. It's a direct sequel to the original Fog movie, and it's taken some twists and turns that I wasn't seeing coming. Now, there are a few characters in here that I keep getting mixed up. Someone's daughter, there's a podcaster. I keep getting them mixed up. I don't know why, but I do. And that's the only thing that's really throwing me off in the story. But if you're a fan of The Fog, like I am, it's definitely worth checking out because it's the sequel I never wanted, didn't think we needed, but I'm enjoying it. All right, so to recap, The Fog has been a really great sequel to The Fog. Godzilla War for Humanity has amazing, stellar artwork. Scale Trade was like, not for me. Barbaric Born in Blood's kind of getting repetitive, telling the same joke over and over. Robo Force, that one did not work for me. Savage Sword of Conan, they fixed the printing issues. It looks great and it smells great. Blood Brothers Mother, if you're an Azzarello and a Rizzo fan and you also love Westerns, this book is perfect for you. Then we got Lester of the Lesser Gods. It was aight. Space Ghost gets the cover of the week with that Jay Lee cover and a really cool action-packed, a little bit more gritty and down-to-earth and grounded version of Space Ghost that I like. King Spawn, Todd McFarlane does Memento, does that episode of Seinfeld. It's kind of what it does. Kaya continues to improve, and it started amazing. Kaya is amazing. Bear Pirate, Viking Queen, amazing artwork, solid story, enjoyable experience all the way through. Flash Annual, confusing as hell. Nightwing Annual, little long-winded, little dense in its dialogue, but it gets the job done in a satisfactory way. Superman House of Brainiac, pretty solid tie-in to the main thread of what's going on in the world of Superman and in the world of the DCU, but not 100% essential to House of Brainiac. Star Wars Episode 1, Phantom Menace, making us all feel old. For sure. If you don't like pod races, don't check that one out. All right, then we got The Incredible Hulk, issue number 12. Nick Klein's back, so the book is kind of back on track. We'll see for how long. Weapon X-Men, I'm liking it. I'm liking it. Vengeance of the Moon Knight, issue number 5, my favorite issue of the series yet. Read this before you read Blood Hunt. If you're reading Blood Hunt, Get Fury is kind of a sequel of sorts to the Punisher Born Max comic and the Fury Max comics that Garth Ennis worked on. It's Garth Ennis doing Punisher and Fury. You're going to want that, so that's pretty cool. Deadpool, Wolverine, World War III is some really great work from Adam Kubert, though. Blood Hunt, it's good, it's solid, But definitely get the red band bagged edition if you can, because you got guts spilling, your heads flopping off. Heads will roll in the red band edition of that. But the pick of the week is Toxic Summer. Really, really enjoyed this queer horror beach party teen movie thing. It had a lot of charm, not just because Derek Charm did it. Didn't I start the bit with that, like back at the very beginning of this video? Anyway, I really like this book. Love, 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 love that artwork. Love the story, the pace, the dialogue, the characters, everything about it. 100% worked. So that's what I read. That's what I'm digging. What are you reading? What are you digging? Let us know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for checking out the video. I've been Rockin' Robbie Billups. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And join us over at patreon.com/PCP if you want to help support the channel. Station. Keep on reading, y'all. Thanks for rocking with us. Pop, pop, boom! Man, I say way too many things at the end of these videos. Maybe I should truncate that. Pop, pop.